The story that I'm about to bring you is the very best story that I've ever found in over 2 years of making videos on my channel. I'm completely serious, by the way. It genuinely is unbelievable. It's got twists, turns, unbelievable characters, a horrible pair of entitled parents. The person who wrote it is an absolute legend and has an amazing family. So without further ado, here it is. The very best entitled parents / revenge story I've ever read. Here we go. Alexa, play Bitch Ain't Shit by Dr. Dre. My crib midget has evolved into a mini-human, and my mini-human is now in an adult male body, which is, unfortunately, still outfitted with a teenage brain. Don't worry though, he knows everything. I myself have a late 30s model body, but my teenage brain is coming along well. That said, my loving wife is still able to maintain her sanity with 2.5 boys and half male adults in the house. However, our house was too small and we needed more legroom. We decided to move on up. The new house is everything we wanted. There's ample room for the growing family. The boys would conquer the upstairs and even have their own bathroom to grow science experiments. They occasionally fail to brush their teeth, but you can most certainly count on them to pee in or on everything except the toilets. Cake, my 11-year-old mini-human, shares my obsessive-compulsive disorder, OCD, and keeps his room in working order. Kelly, my 15-year-old man-child genius, well, just don't touch that sock under his bed. Typical boy stuff, I suppose. My wife and I now had a backyard. We had a 2-car garage to store her Christmas and Halloween decorations. The neighborhood is gorgeous, and I can literally walk to the clubhouse and play a round of golf. The cul-de-sac we live on is dominated by currently serving or retired military families. Everyone was extremely welcoming at the Homeowners Association, and the neighbors were all friendly. Well, at least for the moment. Now, I've read about neighbor horror stories. I've seen them on television. I never, in a million years, thought I would live next to them. I am a gunfighter by trade, but believe it or not, I don't like war. I like my job, but I don't enjoy the carnage of war. I'm a realist though. I would totally cast my ballot for world peace, but I know it only takes one butthole to ruin it for everyone. My immediate neighbors became those buttholes. Enter the entitled parents, Kevin and Karen. They seemed nice at first. They were both really helpful, especially Kevin. Kevin had served in the Air Force, and Karen was a stay-at-home mother. They enlightened me regarding the neighborhood, the quality of the area schools, and told me the tips and tricks to avoid any hassle with the HOA. Freaking great, right? Enter coronavirus, COVID-19, zombie apocalypse. The onset of COVID-19 forced the school district to cancel the remainder of the school year, so the boys didn't turn into zombies. However, the mass hysteria allowed my humanoids to become semi-professional Fortnite gamers who smelled like bullfunk and survived on soda and zebra cakes. They were quickly becoming chubby bunnies. I, being neighborly, informed Kevin and Karen that I would be in the market for a portable basketball hoop to combat childhood obesity and type 2 diabetes. Side note, I remember everything. It can be quite literally a matter of life or death in my occupation, so I remember things vividly. So I go round to Karen's house. Pleasantries, some other words. I'm thinking about getting a basketball hoop for the boys, I say. That's great, says Karen. It's so good to have young children in the neighborhood again. Yeah, but you know you can't put it in the street, right? Says Kevin. It's against HOA rules. Kevin is a rules guy. Well aware. I'll be putting it on the back pad. That's great. If the ball ever goes over the fence, just tell them to come and get it. Awesome. It was a positive interaction and they had no issue. Onwards to Walmart's. Now, my children are well behaved. They may act like idiots to each other and inside the house, but they're both kind and courteous to others. Despite Karen's instructions, I told them to knock on the door if the ball ever goes over the fence. So they did. First bounce over. I hear a knock 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 at my door. It's Kevin. Hey Kevin, how can I help you? Now Kevin was annoyed. The ball went over the fence. Did the boys knock and ask to get it? Yes, I just wanted to let you know. I spoke to my wife afterwards. That was odd, was all I could think. Is the guy gonna let me know each time the ball goes over the fence? Maybe I should knock on his door. Hey, Kevin, just wanted to let you know that your car is parked in the driveway. This process quickly became a routine for Kevin. Kevin became a self-licking ice cream cone. Kevin came over 6 times over the course of about 3 months. My wife began keeping tallies because it was odd, but somewhat comical. Then stuff started to get real. Cake, my youngest child, came running in the house scared. He had tears in his eyes and was continually reiterating, "I didn't do anything wrong." Nobody has accused me of being world's best dad, so I was wondering if he did in fact do something wrong. I forgo waterboarding Cake this time and ask what he's talking about. Cake stated, "Karen is recording me." Wait, what? I look outside and sure as heck, I see Karen at the fence pointing her cell phone at me as if it was a loaded gun. I think, well, f my tits, because I know my wife is going to lose her head. And she did. My wife is dainty, but she quickly turned into a 4'11" Muhammad Ali. Man, it took every frickin' ounce of verbal reasoning for me to stop her from physically rearranging Karen's face meat. In addition to remembering things for work, I have to be well read regarding the laws that govern me as an American, and the local laws. I knew Karen's tactic to scare and record Cake was immoral and unethical, but it was perfectly legal. This didn't sit well with my wife though. I reminded my wife that I have a doctorate in revenge from university, FU, and this would not go unanswered. I can be a prick too, but I am a methodical prick. I did my best to erect makeshift barriers as a temporary solution. It wasn't perfect, but at least it showed that we were doing everything in our power to prevent bulls from going over the fence. I also submitted plans for a permanent structure to the HOA. I was going to build a hanging herb garden wall, but it required approval before construction could start. The typical approval timeline was 2 weeks, but in addition to pooping on Earth, COVID-19 also pooped on the approval process. I was in limbo. Now, tragically, another basketball fell victim to the senseless violence. It was the 9th basketball in approximately 8 months. The kids were terrified to ask for it back, and it wasn't even worth the hassle anymore. That didn't stop Kevin though. 9th bounce over. Knock, knock, knock. "Hey, is your husband home?" My wife answered. "Yes, but he's injured his back. How can I help you?" "Get him, please." I should mention that Kevin is outwardly sexist and is not a fan of coloureds. "Kevin, my husband can't even walk right now. How can I help you?" "The basketball went over the fence again and it needs to stop. They need to stop playing basketball." He was now telling my wife how to parent. Good luck, buddy. "I'm sorry the ball went over the fence. We continue to tell the children to be careful, but I'm not going to tell them they can't play basketball in their own yard." "You'll tell your boys to stop playing. If the ball comes over the fence again, we are calling the cops. Tell your boys to stay out of our yard. They're trespassing." If you want to call the cops, then you go ahead and do it. However, the boys do not go in your yard at all anymore. I was losing my mind in the bedroom. I could hear the conversation, but I physically couldn't make the front door. I managed to slide off the bed though and began my army crawl to the door, but I was late. My wife was fuming and I was angry and pathetically crawling on the floor. Yay, back injuries. We had no intention of starting a war, but the boys were doing nothing wrong. We'd informed Kevin we were getting a hoop and they had zero issues with it. What the frick was going on? 10th bounce over. The cops are called. The OP City Police Department sent 2 cruisers. The children may be 11 and 15, but all be danged if they don't go down without a fight. 1 cruiser was not going to suffice. You better send 2 for my miscreants. I just sat in my garage man cave and watched it all play out. The cops go to the neighbour's house first. They're there for more than an hour, and I can only assume we're being painted as horrible neighbours. Oh well. It's now pitch dark outside, and I was startled by the time an officer approaches. Officer John Kimball comes up to me. "Hello, sir?" "Holy frick, you scared the poop out of me." "Sorry, hi. I'm Officer Kimball with OP City PD. How are you doing this evening?" Typically, I'd say fine, but I don't typically have a cop in my garage. "Yeah, I understand. Look, the reason we're here is because the neighbours called out about trespassing. Now, they said nobody went in their yard today, but they want you to understand they will press charges next time." I was baffled. I did my best to maintain my composure, but I'm certain my face was screaming, "Are you freaking serious?" Officer Kimball then pointed at his body camera and mouthed, "Recording," and then gave me a thumbs up gesture. I immediately seized the opportunity to F with him. Sorry, it's in my nature. "Hey, officer, do you want another beer? You can't just drink one." The officer starts laughing. "What? I didn't have a beer with you." I'm only kidding. And look, we're fully aware of their intent to press charges. I'll be sure to do my best to prepare my boys for the rigors of prison life too. I think jail will be good for them too. Maybe even toughen them up a bit. Okay, sir, I just want to ensure that you are aware. Ideally, we'd like to see neighbours talk things like this out and not call the cops, but unfortunately, this is what it's come to. I just want to ensure you are aware. Tracking. You have a good evening, sir. Thanks. Officer Kimball then walked back to his patrol car. He didn't leave though. I assume he was just finishing mundane paperwork, but he was there for at least 20 minutes. Then, much to my surprise, he returned and was a completely different officer. Hey man, you back for that beer? No, sorry man, I've got to play the game for the body cam. I hear you, I occasionally wear one at work, but it only cuts back on my cussing. People still get shots. Oh, you are me? Yep, cool. What do you do? Shoot first, shoot often, and have my story straight before the cops arrive. Oh, I figure as much after looking at all your stuff here. Look, I just wanted to talk to you without the camera. They really seem eager to press charges if your children are caught in their yard. Yeah, my wife and I have concluded that. Oh, honestly, that lady is batshit crazy. My God, she demanded we arrest your children tonight. Wait, tonight? Yes, she said they trespassed before and she wanted to press charges now. Oh my, I'm sorry you've got to deal with this, brother. I really am. I can assure you that they've never gone in their yard without permission. Not once. They are terrified of her. She taunts them from the other side of the fence and records them. Seriously, they're scared of her. We now chalk the balls up as a loss. Oh, I believe you. There's something not right with that lady. She said the basketball wakes her son up and she will not hesitate to press charges. I told her we'd do our duty, but I don't think the magistrate will not view the situation kindly if we arrest 2 children for playing basketball. She clearly doesn't care though. Look, I just wanted to chat with you, and without the body cam, I can't exactly call her crazy while it's running. The officer stayed for another hour. He was impressed with the collection of war memorabilia and the setup of my garage man cave. He was specifically intrigued with my Nintendo and working copy of Mike Tyson Punch-Out, among other classics. Yes, it's certainly freaking cool, but I'll be honest, it's got little to do with this story. But then, poop meets fan. My wife was mowing the grass, and I was currently doing stuff I never thought would be a priority of mine. Planting a new flower bed. Kevin and Karen had just returned from another Chick-fil-A run. Then the unthinkable happened. Kevin exited the car and immediately approached me. And he was angry. Your boys went into my yard and got a ball today. They may think we didn't notice, but we did. You need to tell those boys to stay out of my yard, or wait a freaking minute. I don't tolerate people who lie, cheat, or steal, and you are lying right now. No, your boys we were at an all-day soccer tournament in a different state. We've only been home for a couple of hours. They've not played any basketball since we've been home. You're lying. Well, we're sick of them getting balls from our yard without permission. Look, Kevin, I get it. However, you failed to recall when your wife said the boys were more than welcome to go in the yard, and I didn't even get to finish when I heard the screech of Karen. Now look, I know my writing style is different to say the least. I wish I was better. I do not have the words to accurately articulate the sound Karen made, but I'll do my best. It was like the Tyrannosaurus from Jurassic Park making love to a nuclear explosion during a tornado, but way freaking louder. The only thing that honestly makes this worse, and I freaking kid you not, is that she is a dead ringer for Carol Baskin from Tiger King. Not maybe a little, but more, holy frick, Carol Baskin is your neighbour type of resemblance. I never said that. I would never say that. She screamed at the top of her lungs mere inches from my face. I could smell the Meow Mix bellow from her scream factory. Meanwhile, Kevin pulled a frickin' Houdini and vanished. Kevin is a passive-aggressive butthole, and direct confrontation scares him off. Yes, you did, I reply. I never said that. You're wrong. Whatever, it's not even worth it. I'm so sick of your heathens going in my yard. Your heathens better not go in my yard again, or I will have them arrested. I know the law. The I know the law statement really rubbed me wrong. I was about to open my mouth and respond, but my wife was on her like stink on poop, which led me to believe Karen is louder than a lawnmower. My wife was still seething about Karen recording the kids. They don't go in your yard and they're good children. They are not heathens. You better stop recording my children. Oh, shut up. You guys are white trash. Your children play in the street and run around the neighborhood like criminals. They broke my mulch too. Yes, she said they broke the mulch. Everybody knows you're trash. Just stupid white trash. I'm now thinking, oh frick, and I'm semi-worried about Karen's future health as an active participant of living humans. I think my wife wanted to expire Karen's shelf life. Excuse me? My children never play in the streets. You're recording them? Oh, just shut up. You're stupid. You're just plain stupid. I can record them if I want. No wonder you don't have jobs. I have 3 advanced degrees. We're working from home. When you are, you're trashy and stupid, and both your children are stupid. I had enough. There was no point in arguing at all. Mark Twain stated, never argue with an idiot. They'll drag you down to their level and beat you with experience. Now, Mark is correct, and Karen was trying to drag us down. Now, I don't know why, but I remember something that Kevin discussed with me when we first moved in. The frickin' trees. They have a large maple tree, and they have a juniper tree. Kevin always told me they were in the process of contracting a company to crown and lift the maple tree. Furthermore, they were going to get the juniper tree off my fence. Now guys, I know the law too. I can legally trim anything that goes over my property line. Now, all those pointless conversations were making sense. It was my time to join this exciting game called pettiness. Karen, I say, you have until Sunday to get your juniper off my fence. Oh, shut up. I told you we were going to get it handled this fall. It's June. You have until Sunday. Or what? I allow my wife to rejoin the conversation, and I retreat to the garage. There, I grab my clippers and prune a good couple of inches off the juniper tree and lay them at her feet. Cue T-Rex frickin' a volcano voice. What the heck do you think you're doing? I told you it will be done this fall. You have until Saturday now. You're dumb too. Just like your wife, aren't you? My intelligence may have been debatable, but I suppose it was time to repeat the process. I now return with about 2 feet of tree and place it at her feet. I am like Momo lady. You have until Friday, I say. You better not touch my tree again. I'll call the cops and have you thrown in jail tonight. You're so dumb, aren't you? Now I see where your children get it from. I know the law too, Karen. I'll be back in a minute with some more of your juniper tree. Kevin! I again return to the tree. I now have another 2 feet of juniper tree to place at her feet. The more she screams, the smaller her tree becomes. It was an enjoyable game of cause and effect. Meanwhile, I see Kevin and Kevin Jr. running like Usain Bolt to secure their tree with toe straps. I hope you're happy. You're terrible people. You're both terrible parents and your children are heathens. I'm sick of ball bouncing and waking my son up too. You people need to move. You're just horrible parents. Horrible. Now screaming louder. Horrible parents. Guys, I had enough. I was at critical mass. I was going to explode. Karen continued to yell at my wife and I was zoning out. It was comical to watch Kevin and Kevin Jr. secure the tree to their porch in order to get it off the fence. Once complete, they quickly made their way back to the one-sided screaming party. Horrible parents, look what they did with my poor tree. I think we should call the cops, dear. Horrible parents, I feel sorry for your kids and oh, just shut the frick up. I raked up 21 bags of leaves this past fall. 21. Funny because we don't have a tree in our backyard. I pulled an additional bag's worth of leaves and branches from my gutter. Not from my tree either, it was from your tree. You know what, Kevin? I didn't complain. I didn't knock on your door and bitch. Yeah? And? We live in a suburbia. This stuff happens. They are kids. Kids frickin' play outside. I don't want the ball in your yard either. You accuse them of being in your yard. You also accuse them of breaking mulch. How in the frick do you break mulch? Are you frickin' serious? Really? Yes, really. Maybe you should learn how to parent your horrible children. At this point, I just frickin' lost it. Wait for the surprise. You know what? That's the last time you question me about my parenting. My children are going to grow up and be productive members of our society. I find it comical that you have the audacity to question my parenting, seeing how you have a, wait for it, 49-year-old son living at your house for the past 9 years. I assume it was because of the divorce and the bankruptcy he filed 9 years ago. My children are waking your child up. Your child is a jobless 49-year-old man living at home with mum and dad. Is he working on a startup? Prestige Worldwide maybe? Boats and hoes? At this point, Karen was freaking baffled. How do you know any of that? Do you go snooping through our mail too? I'm good at what I do, and I found everything online. I know you are 69 and lost your license due to reckless endangerment charge in 2017. I know Kevin Jr. has 5 different moving violations and 1 DUI. I also know he was fired from his grounds crew job with the HOA. I know your husband is 72 and wears the same frickin' shirt every day, so I can only assume that laundry is not a priority. I know your phone numbers and email accounts. I know a lot of stuff about you. Your child is 49 and lives at home. Maybe you should be more worried about your parenting and less about mine. We can have a civil relationship or we can have a war. Just remember this though, I'm going to frickin' outlive you. They then stormed back into their house. They were not happy or impressed with my ability to figure stuff out. It wasn't over for me though. They fricked with the wrong F-head. They were unaware of actions I took to keep the peace. For example, I never let the boys play basketball while they were outside eating dinner. I didn't let them play before 9 or after 7. I tried, but they would blare country music and enjoy the gorgeous weather and eat a meal. I never complained about Garth Brooks on Volume 100 while I watched the national news. I was teleworking, and I took up as a part-time job now. I have wrestled since I was 4 years old. I was never much of a basketball guy. I am now though. Karen and Kevin had just sat down to enjoy their meal. I don't have to spy either. I can easily see them out my French doors as I watch the news. I patiently waited for the slot speed F-heads to get their outside dinner setting perfectly situated. I could hear Tim McGraw playing when I opened my French doors. I like music too, so I figured I'd get my groove and play basketball. I say, Alexa, play Ain't Sh by Dr. Dre. Playing Bleep and Bleep by Dr. Dre. Alexa, volume 10. I have a new fondness for rap music and the game of basketball. This didn't stop Karen from recording my heathens on a daily basis. Look, I know what I was about to do was petty, but I had 0 Fs to give at that point. I had one last FU, my final card to play, an Uno reverse card of sorts. My neighbours across the streets and my family have bonded. He had a tree removed last week and I had an epiphany. How much would it cost to trim a large maple tree that overhangs my property? I'm not talking a couple of branches either, but more like 1/2 of a more than 100-foot tree. I approached the tree removal company and offered them a sizable chunk of change and informed them of my delicate problem. They said, any friend of your neighbour is a friend of ours. Pro bono. They moved their large equipment over to my backyard and take their time getting ready. Guess who came running out of the house? No, not Brad Pitt. Frick, get your stuff together, reader. Karen and Kevin come running out. Hey, buddy, said Kevin. He went with buddy, not F-head, not horrible parents. Buddy, what can I do for you? What are they doing here? Oh, them? I point at the guys. Yeah, what are they doing here? Oh, well, they're just gonna go and trim the tree. Just trim? Yep, just a little trim. You know that tree was a gift from our daughter, right? Says Karen. We don't want anything drastic. It's been with us for over 40 years now. Yeah, it was a gift from our daughter. How much are you thinking of trimming? Well, just so you're aware, you understand that I can legally trim anything that overhangs my property. I've got approval from my lawyer and the HOA to trim it. Now, frankly, I care as much about your tree as you do my children's privacy. I could fricking care less. Well, how much are you talking about trimming then? My property line is here, I point, and it extends up, I point up, to space. I'm gonna trim every single branch that encroaches my property. So probably about 1/3 of your tree. It's gonna look really frickin' funny when I'm done. Oh well. Karen started to cry. It was a really ugly cry. There was no more rage left in her. She was defeated. Kevin was defeated as well. Now, this was not my desire. Don't get me wrong, I don't care if she cried, but it was not my intent. Or, you can stop recording my frickin' children. Karen looked like snot-nosed Carol Baskin. If I stop recording? Look, we don't have to like each other, because I certainly don't frickin' like you guys. My boys never go in your yard, ever. I don't even care if you keep the basketballs, but I'll be danged if you frickin' record them ever again. If you do, I'll cut your tree down without warning. Now, Kevin is still angry, but says, thanks, bud. No worries, friend. I'm just trying to be neighborly. Just remember, I am dead serious about the tree, and I'm pretty certain I will outlive you. Now look guys, I know I'm a prick. I know we're both in the wrong at times. I draw the line though when a 69-year-old woman sees fit to torment my kids. We've only had one problem since these events occurred. Kevin's Jr.'s car sat in the same spot for 9 months. I've submitted over 20 home improvement requests to the HOA, and I'm now friends with the wonderful ladies that work there. They periodically inspect neighborhoods and noticed the registration on Junior's vehicle was 2 years outdated, and they had it towed. Karen accused me of having it towed. We had another colourful conversation, but it ended there. Kevin Jr. is still jobless to this day. I assume he's managed to erect a bunk bed in his childhood bedroom. He has so much more room for activities. Just make sure you don't touch his drum sets. And there we go. That is the end of that absolute beaut of a story. I've got to say, first of all, I don't know why OP thinks his writing is bad. It's phenomenal. I loved reading that. It was so easy to read. It flows so well. The story was great. The twist at the end as well. A 49-year-old kid still living at home, and that's the person that you're complaining about. Oh, amazing. Loved every second. Great story. Hope you guys enjoyed it too. You know, personally, I've always thought about this, right? What if you buy a house and it just turns out, unluckily, that your neighbors are just horrific people, like in this story? There's nothing you can do. You own your house, they own their house, you've just got to live with each other. It must be incredibly tiring to have to go through an entire ordeal like this and deal with people like Karen, Kevin, and their son, I guess. But wow, the way you guys went about it, amazing. OP, I love you. I love your wife. I love your kids even. Not in a weird way, but they seem like good guys, you know, very polite, respectful, good at basketball as well. Future in the NBA, perhaps. But yeah, in general, all I can say is that every word of this was just brilliant. Thoroughly enjoyed reading it. Hope you guys did too. As I said in the intro, I'm on a mission to bring you lot the best quality stories from the internet. And I think with this one, I mean, let me know down in the comments if you agree. I've done so. Drop a like on the video if you agree with that. Anyway, guys, that is going to do it for this one. Really hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please do get in the comments and let me know if you want to see more stories like this one. Just top quality stuff. If you do want another one like this one straight away, check out this on screen. Another high quality story. If you are new to the channel, subscribe, and I'll see you all tomorrow for a brand new one.